Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with Redo Over, and we're back to Stellaris. No DLC, vanilla, in-depth playthrough, blah, 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 blah. We left off last week just getting totally hosed by the game. We lost an entire colony and a scientist who is now an immortal, cruising through the galaxy, exploring stuff. So, bon voyage to them. We need to replace that scientist. So we will go to the Free Pearl. Yeah. All right, let's jump in real quick. And have we talked about hiring new leaders? We think we've done that. Yeah, you've got your current leaders and your recruitable leaders. Now, one thing to bear in mind is as you improve relations with other Xeno species and get like migration treaties, you get the ability to recruit external leaders. So you'll have your own pool of leaders available to recruit from your own people, and that will refresh every several years. It's like every 3 or 4 years, whatever. I don't know exactly, but they'll sit here for quite a while, but they will be gone. So if you ever don't see a leader you want, don't hire the ones you don't want. But I would say more importantly is make sure every few years you're checking to see if there's a leader that you really would want for some reason. But also, we've got little leaders down here. Now, I would say an important question is, did the leader we lost, the leader we lost, is that how you say it? Golden Rakam, I think, was the leader. Did they have a special role within our government? Let's jump to government really quickly. No, it doesn't look like it. We have the Archprophetess, who is, essentially our leader for life until she dies. We have the head of research is currently Voidborn Mary, who's doing a great job. That spark of genius, all research speed plus 6%, very nice. And she's a level 2 expert in field manipulation. So it's good. It's pretty good. But yeah, let's jump back into our leader pool. Go to scientists. This is going to be a leader who's out there in a science ship trying to survey and discover anomalies and potentially doing some archaeology digging. So those are things that I would want to look for. So up the top, we have field manipulation level 1. That's not useful. And as a counselor, Starbase module costs, no. Merciful Saida is not any good for us. We have Red Tia, who has archaeologist level 2. It's not bad. We're getting very close to the point where we're going to want to dig up some of our archaeological sites. I've been saying that, but we are getting there. And private mines. So as a planetary governor or sector governor, generates additional minerals, and the home planet of Fula would get 200 extra miner jobs. I've always wondered with the home planet effects. I can't remember. Does that give Fula 200 miner jobs even if Red Tia is not the governor? But either at the sector level or the planetary level. Is it just 200 free jobs? Because that's good. I mean, we don't really need mining jobs, but 200 jobs for no building, no upkeep. Theoretically, no upkeep. I like that. Let's keep going, though. We have statecraft expertise, research speed for statecraft, chance of statecraft research options. Yeah, okay. And resilient. Leader lifespan plus 20 years. And then finally, Twisang Pierre. Field manipulation level 1. A lot of field manipulation people. And we have the Claw. Scrapper. Produces additional metallurgists, and on Elysia Prime would yield 100 extra metallurgist jobs. I like that. And that would allow us to experiment to see if we get those jobs right off. So let's scroll up to Elysia Prime real quick. What are they doing? They're industrial? That would work for Alloy. That would fit in with the specialization of heavy industry. Okay. So I like this. And then finally, let's just check Kibin Tanaka. We have Voidcraft level 1 and Biology level 1. If we were going to assign them as our head of research, that would be a good choice because they'd be able to push forward a couple of different technology paths more rapidly, but that's not what we're doing here. So that being said, they are all level 2, the level they're coming in at. And I think that's always standardized across all your leaders, the level they'll come in. Although I do know there are certain technologies and maybe some traits you can pick up, or traditions you can pick up that would allow your new leaders to come in a level ahead. Oh, well, wait, I contradict myself even now. Right here. Red Tia is a level 3. So, cool. Oh, all right. They don't all come in at the same level. But no, I know there are things you can get where your leaders in the leader pool are one level higher than they normally would be. So there are things that modify that in the gameplay. If you're going for a leader heavy play, where it's all about your leadership, then you would want to pursue those technologies and picks and whatnot. But I really like this just for the alloy jobs. Now, to be fair, we said specifically that this is for a science ship, in which case the archaeology is better. And we could experiment with the mineral job right there and see if we get the 200 extra minerals jobs on Fula. That's probably how we should do it. I mean, I want the alloy jobs, but the scientist is for doing science. So I've dithered long enough. The only other final thing, by the way, would be to look at the age. So a 32-year-old has got a lot less years on them than these 46-year-olds. So caution. But all right, as I look at all of these, if we're going to hire the most experienced scientist, Red Tia is the obvious choice. They have that level 2 archaeologist, which would help us, and it lets us see whether we get the 200 mineral jobs from their home planet effect. Presumably it's the planet of their origin or something like that. One other thing to consider, the level 3 does just give you base effects that are higher than a level 2 scientist. I know we don't look at these a whole lot, but let's just be very certain as we look in here. Sector governor effects, or up at the very top of this, scientist per level. Survey speed is 10% per level. So Red Tia is at 30% survey speed. So they're a better surveyor. Archaeology skill is 1 per level. So she's at level 3 already. I assume it's a she. And the Astral Rift skill at +1 per level as well. So, and then if you look down, that per level, I believe hits everything else. Sector governor, planetary governor, in governing home planet effects. So all those percentages would be multiplied by the level. So ultimately, she's already a good archaeologist, and then add that on to the fact that she's a specialist. Yeah, she'd be a really good archaeologist. Level 3 with a 35% increase in speed. So that's what we're going to go with. Red Tia, higher, yes. She needs a job, obviously. We're going to scroll down to Free Pearl. She's already in there. Cool. All right. I didn't really ask if I wanted to assign her, but that's okay. She got assigned automatically. Sentence in session. We'll take a look at that in a second. I kind of, before I hit record, I just sort of scoped everything out. It looks like everyone's got a decent job to do right now. We have our Morning Aster en route to Troidum down here to colonize that planet. And I was looking at this. We know there's 1K worth of alien vessels in this star system. The Talacurans, I think, sent a fleet that way, but weren't able to clear it out or something. So we could theoretically send in a science ship and a constructor and claim that system. And a fleet, right? We would need to send in our fleet to destroy them. So what if we took the Belt Manglers and we head them off over here to Tanobo? Close that down. No orders for the ISS Fear No Spaceborne right now. Yeah, because if you recall, we are obviously waiting for influence before we can claim a system, but let's not worry about it. Let's send them to Tanobo. And do we have any science ship that needs a job? Yeah, potentially. Let's just back the Free Pearl out of there since they got disturbed, and we will retreat them back to Tanobo. So all of those folks should get there in a little over a year. And if their fleet hasn't come in and wrecked these aliens, we'll jump in and claim that system. Why do we want to do that? Well, it is strategically vulnerable to have a system inside of alien space, but we have very good relations with the Talacuran. But whatever resources we find there, some energy, some minerals, maybe a little bit of scientific research, we not only want that, do we want the liability of having an exposed area of space, maybe creates more border friction with the Talacurans, possibly. But everything we take away from them keeps them in their place. It's kind of a mean way to say it, but it's true. So every little thing we can do to weaken their position means that they're way more likely to stay aligned with us than to be hostile against us. So yeah, maybe we'll just gain 2 energy and 3 minerals, and you're going like, shrug, is that worth all that effort? It's like, yeah, because it's us up and it's them down an equal amount. So it's kind of a double effect, specifically when leveraged against a Talacuran. So it's leverage. It is leverage. Yeah, we're just weakening their position to strengthen our own. So it's a double effect. So whatever is at Vicure, we want to have, and we don't want the Talacurans to have. So there you go. Okay. What else do we got going on? So we hired our scientists. That was kind of our number one thing. Yeah, we have the Senate is now in session. The Senate floor is in session. The galactic community is now voting for a new resolution to decide if it will become galactic law. Fantastic. Let's click on this. And Senate's in session now for 1,400. So I don't know, 5 years? Jeez. I guess these guys got to travel to get to the Senate, huh? We essentially have functionally 5 years to vote. Okay, pass or defeat buzzword standardization. So we have abstained. Wait, no, we're not the Estwanians. Like, who the hell is the Estwanians? They haven't voted yet. Why? We're voting for this support. Let's see. Let's just go through them all real quick. Ready Shield, Guardian Angels, regulatory facilitations. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, buzzword standardization is up right now. Oh, are they only going to feed in one at a time? Fascinating. Okay, so right now we only have the capability of voting for buzzword standardization, which says diplomatic weight from economy plus 20%, trade from jobs, upkeep for priest plus 5. I think that's okay for us. We're economically pretty powerful, so I would like more diplomatic weight. We can gain extra diplomatic weight from our economy or from our military force. Like, I don't know that those things are mutually exclusive, so if we can gain 20% here, 20% here, we're going to want to do that. If I look over here at Ready Shield, diplomatic weight from fleet power, yeah, plus extra naval cap. Guardian Angels, we would definitely want to vote against. So let's just run through them real quickly. We are in support of that. When we go to Guardian Angels, we are opposed to that. That's correct. And regulatory facilitation. Diplomatic weight from economy plus 20%. Worker pop resource output plus 2.5. So similar thing, habitability minus 2. We're opposed to that because we don't want the hit to habitability. Yeah, I guess. Does that make sense? I mean, you got to be careful because the minus 2% habitability is similar in value to the worker pop resource output. Now, that's not all jobs. It's just the worker category. Whereas habitability hits everyone on the planet, your elites, your specialists, and your workers. So if this said, if that said job resource output, that would mean all jobs. And in which case you'd go, 2.5% is pretty significant. But it's not. It's just the workers. But the habitability hits everyone. So I'm going to leave that as opposed. Let's jump into one of our planets real quick. Let's go to Jawar Prime. We look up here at habitability. When we have penalties from low habitability, pop amenity usage gets hit, pop upkeep gets hit, job efficiency gets hit, pop growth speed gets hit. So to gain a little bit of extra to your workers, but to take that minus 2% in habitability is going to cost us in a lot more areas. That's why I voted no on that. Because ultimately it's just not probably going to be very valuable to us. We'd want the diplomatic weight from economy, but otherwise it's not good. It's no bueno. Okay? The only reason that would ever work is if we just had insanely high habitability through our species modifications and through science and traditions picks, and we were somehow able to push past 100%. Have a surplus, then we could take the hit with no problem. It'd be completely invisible to us. So, but that's the logic there. Let's run the clock. Ooh, 15 minutes of talking. We haven't even run a day by yet. We'll run this at fastest. I'm keeping an eye on that fleet. You notice that fleet is moving away from these alien vessels. So I think we might be able to grab that system out from underneath the Talakiran. Here we go. Archaeological project completed. Ooh. Event chain precursors to Cybrex. The data aliens we found above Isius 5 all died from vacuum exposure, and each individual had a barcode. The Cybrex were known to laser into the skin of organic captives. It seems like the Cybrex executed these aliens by spacing them, perhaps after having finished interrogations or to keep them from escaping during some kind of rescue operation. We may never know the truth. An interesting and morbid find. +1 Cybrex artifact recovered in engineering gains around 500. Very nice. Let's pause. Let's see where our progress is. Let's jump to the situation log. Let's go to the precursor Cybrex event chain. We have completed 3 of 6. We're halfway there, folks. I am, fingers crossed, hoping that the Cybrex event chain will lead us to the Cybrex homeworld and will be a really good new colony or something like that for us. Or orbital rings or something, I don't know, but considering we lost an entire colony last session, it'll be a little while yet. Let's see what our ships are doing. The Kuganamon, where are you at, babe? Kuganamon, you wrapped up here. You have no orders. They're not really good at archaeology, are they? Just checking the Atalante surveying here. We are pulling the Free Pearl back to go to Vicure. And of course, we're bound up. We do have some systems we could claim, provided we had the influence. That's really the holdup for us right now, is influence. So what do we do with the Kuganamon? Let's just click on them. It'll show any, yeah. There are some high-level projects floating around. Let's have them continue with projects for the time being. We'll just get those done. So yeah, we'll have the Kuganamon go to Wegmore and no. What? I'm sorry. Where is that at? Oh, geez, Koronagi. That's way up there. We will have the Atalanta handle that research project at Koronagi, but in the meantime, let's have. Oh, no. The ISS Wise is investigating Brockmar already. Okay, bear with me, folks. Are there any other difficult anomalies? Oh, there's a level 10. Holy crap. Still a level 10. Yeah, let's do it. Let's send him off to research that anomaly at Elysia. Sorry, the yellow ones are a little harder to see because they don't stand out very much. But yeah, that looks like that's it. Okay, so those are all of our really difficult anomalies are going to be researched here shortly. We have enough alloys to beef up a few more ships. I want to keep pushing forward on those. And you know what? Let's make a defensive platform as well. Haven't really fiddled with any of those. Let's get 2 of those in there. I just want to make sure that we look like a very hard target relative to the Free Estwanian Confederacy. Because considering they're militaristic, the Free Estwanians, I would guess their fleet is bigger than ours. The only reason they probably haven't attacked us yet is because we are playing on easy mode. Yeah, they're fanatic militarists, so I'm sure they have a powerful fleet. So we do need to keep pushing forward on our fleet command stuff here. Let's run that clock forward. And we do have some upgrades necessary. Where are the Raucous Plunderers? The Raucous. Where are these guys at? Raucous Plunderers. They are at the Foo Station. Let's give them the upgrade command right now. So they'll spend essentially 50 alloy to upgrade whatever it is they need to upgrade. Does it tell us what they need if we look over here? How are we supposed to know what it is they need? Not really standing out to me, but it's probably some ion thrusters or something like that. So we'll just say yes, do it. And in the meantime, the Belt Manglers are en route to take on these aliens. So we're going to let them do that. I do want to be cautious because once we clear out the aliens at Vicure, it's possible... Well, I don't think the Talakirans have necessarily surveyed Vicure yet. Otherwise, I think they would have already claimed it. So we need to make sure that our science ship is in there before them. So we're gonna hold our fleets at Tunobo until the science ship is there, and the constructor there. We want them to all go in roughly together. Oh shit! Here we go. Look at this, Talakiran. They just got that science ship in there to survey right now. Oh, they're heavily damaged. Look at this. Sorry, I'm pointing at the screen. The THY Apollic Poljak is at 36%. Why? Why is their science ship so heavily damaged? They're surveying now, though. Ah, dang it. That sucks. That might be a real race. And also, did they destroy the alien vessels? I'm so confused. The warning symbol's gone at Vicure now. So, okay. Here we go. Event chain precursors to Cybrex. The broken remains of 2 Cybrex warforms have been discovered in orbit around Brachmar 6. They appear to have been destroyed in battle, but no debris from their adversaries have been found. Either they were badly outmatched, or there is more to this engagement than it seems. Interesting. Issue special project, broken Cybrex warforms. Fantastic. We'll pause there. Let's jump up to the situation log. Jump in. Broken warforms. We has 1 science ship in orbit, so research. Okay. And that's at Brachmar. I can't even tell where that is right now. Yeah, right there. Okay. The ISS-WISE is working on that. So, unfortunately, we may lose Vicure here. It is what it is. There's a whole mystery surrounding this. I'm going to send in the fleet right now, then. It's not going to hurt anything. We're able to travel through the Talakiran space like they can travel through ours. It's just, I'm surprised that science ship is there without being destroyed. Colonization just started at Troidum. Fantastic. And you can see our science ship and our constructor are en route right now. The science ship is pulled out, so whether or not the constructor moves in, we will see. Here we go. Event chain precursors to Cybrex. After studying the wreckage of the 2 Cybrex warforms over Brachmar 6, Science Officer Black William has concluded that they were most likely destroyed while fighting each other. This theory explains the lack of non-Cybrex debris, and it fits the damage patterns found on the wrecks. Why the 2 Cybrex vessels turned on each other remains a mystery. However, after they were immobilized, both warforms triggered some kind of self-destruct mechanism that fried their neural processors. Interesting find. That's 1 more Cybrex artifact and 850 physics research. That's a good get for us. That will push forward our physics research for quite a while at this rate. We'll click cool. We're going to pause there again. Let's just take a look at the Vicure system. It's a mystery. What do we got? So I can tell right now it's going to take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably about 1 year to survey this. We'll grab it if we can. Again, it's all going to depend on what this constructor ship does. Are they en route? No, they're not. The constructor is building a station here at the Flow gas giant. So we may get it. We'll find out. Okay, that being said, at this point, we need to send in our science ship to survey the system. They'll be there shortly, and we're going to send in the constructor to back them up, just to move there. And let's take the fleet, and we're going to send the belt manglers for upgrades at a cost of 189 alloy. Sure, yeah, we're going to do it. And let's send the other fleet, which is just the Raspy Rapscallions, back to Ditram. All right, perfect. So, yeah, you can see we're pushing up our fleet power there. We've got some defensive stations. So one thing to think about with defending your space is that you're relatively limited on how many naval ships you have by your naval capacity. If you push beyond that, it's going to drive up the maintenance costs of your entire fleet. It gets very expensive very quick. I think you can outstrip that or mitigate that just by using surplus energy. So you can run at is it a deficit? At a surplus of naval capacity, right? You can go beyond what you're supposed to and just pay it in raw energy costs, the upkeep. Sure, you could do that. But you can also build the defensive platforms. So I will just reiterate, I kind of skipped over that. Let's go back to the Ditram station. Remember, Ditram is our defensive station relative to the Free Estwanians who hate us, right? They want to do us harm. So Ditchrum is like the system they'd have to go through to get to the rest of the heart of our space. So let's go to the Ditchrum station. Actually, let's go to Ditchrum's system. And if we look in here, we can see that the station's power is 1.6K. Now, we want that to be as high as possible. Remember, the fleets we're sending around are 1, 2, or 3K fleets right now. It's possible the Free Estwanians have a 10K fleet. Remember, they're fanatic militarists. They love war. So we want this station to be as powerful as possible. So if I click on the station, I can see that, yes, I put a gun battery that's adding ship hull points, armor hit points, defensive platform cap. It just adds firepower in general to the whole thing. I can't upgrade to a Starhold yet because I haven't invented the Starhold technology, but I can add to the defenses tab. You can see we can have up to 7 defensive platforms. We have 2. So if we know that we're hitting up against our naval capacity, and because of the size of our sprawling galactic empire, our fleet can't be everywhere. Or we could divide up our 52 naval capacity into, say, 3 or 4 fleets of each about 1K apiece, in which case we have relatively small and ineffective fleets scattered at all the entry points into our space. Well, that ain't really going to do any good. You kind of you need to be at least in parity in firepower to an enemy fleet, or you're going to lose everything, and they'll lose almost nothing. That's the problem. If you send a 1K fleet against a 4K fleet, they might lose a 1 or 2 ships out of 40, and you'll lose a lot of them. Now, to be fair, usually damaged ships jump out on both sides, but it'll be a total ass-kicking. They'll come out almost completely intact. They'll be at like 95% efficiency at the end of a fight. They're 4K. Your 1K will be at like 0% efficiency. You'll have maybe half your ships come out of that fight alive, but they've jumped away, they're out of commission, and they're all heavily damaged. So it's a one-sided ass-whooping. So you got to be in parity. Well, the way to offset the fact that you only have so much naval capacity is to build up these defensive platforms at your hotspots. So where are our hotspots? And don't get me wrong, defensive platforms are expensive. They're coming in at 223 alloy a pop, when our corvettes are coming in at 105. So each defensive platform is a little more than twice as expensive as a base corvette for the time being. Now, their firepower and their hull points are probably roughly equal to a destroyer. So, like, it's probably worth 2 corvettes. I mean, they're not mobile, but yeah, in general, it gives you it's a lot of stuff the enemy has to destroy. How about that? It's kind of like a big target that they got to punch through. In the meantime, your star base is returning fire, and whatever ships you have there are returning fire. So I'm not saying defensive platforms are king, but if you got surplus alloy and you don't have surplus naval capacity, build defensive platforms. So if we look at our critical stations, Ditchrum is one. However, something like Fu Station isn't critical. Elysia isn't critical. These stations are well within our space. The enemy isn't going to get to them. Even over here at Castor, which is kind of our defensive bulwark against the Talacurans, are at peace with us, so I wouldn't build any defensive platforms at Castor unless I just had tens of thousands of surplus. I just needed something to do with the alloy, then I might build them. But otherwise, I would build up Dwumgar and Edelmar's defensive platform. So there's 3 stations I believe we should build up as many defensive platforms as we can get. That'll be Dwumgar, Edelmar, and Ditchrum. And then we'll keep our naval capacity loaded up to as high as we can get it. Yeah, so that being said, we have a research. Ion thrusters completed. These electric thrusters use beams of ions to generate thrust without the need for a propellant. That ain't what an ion is, folks. Okay, I'm not going to go off the rails with physics talk, theoretical mishmash philosophy mumbo-jumbo like last time. However, I will say that an ion is just a regular atom that has lost an electron or gained an electron for what it normally would have, and it is now ionized and either is a little more positively or negatively charged than it was before, that rather than being neutral. Most atoms, I think, are neutral-ish, right? So it's been ionized because it's either had an electron stripped away or an electron added on, which I think would pop away pretty quickly. Okay. But it's still an atom. It's still matter. So when you make your magnetic electric grid and you accelerate ionized atoms through the grid to generate thrust, it is propellant. So, Stellaris, get your science right. Ion thrusters are real technology we actually have today in the real world. This isn't science fiction. It's just an ion thruster, and it uses propellant. Okay. We all learned something new. Okay, new research, though. Hold on, what did that get us? What is even the point of the thruster? Here we go. I clicked on research. Here's the thruster. Does it even... it's not even telling us. Gosh dang it. It bugs me that it doesn't, like, give us a pop-up for what the thrusters do. Hold on. We'll come back to this. Let's go to... Fleet management? Yes. Ship designer. Oh, here's a new thing we've never looked at. I'm not going to get too in depth here, but we're going, what's an ion thruster? Do I got to go to the wiki to figure out what the heck this thing's going to do? Because when I tooltip all over the technology, it doesn't tell me anything. It just gives me a inaccurate description of what an ion thruster is and does. Hold on. Here we go. There's two types of ships. We have the basic Crow, Corvette class, or it's the Crow class of a Corvette, auto-generated by the game, and we have our defensive platform, the Musket, which seems wildly non-bird-like, in my opinion. One's a gun and one's a bird. Oh my gosh, I gotta sneeze. Don't sneeze. I scream sneeze. I wouldn't want to do that to you guys. I guess I could somehow mute my mic. I don't see a way to do that, but... We got a mute button here? No. We'll figure out another time. I'm not going to sneeze. But here we go. Let's just jump on the Crow. This is pretty cool here, folks. So let's look at it. We got time. What the heck? Right now we're using auto-generated designs. We could design ships ourselves. And I think there will be an episode where we get into that and just do some ship design. This isn't it. But let's just look real quickly. You can see up here, these are S-class, meaning small. So a Corvette has 3 small weapon slots. Okay? Presumably, a larger ship like a cruiser or a battleship would have medium, M, or L, large weapon slots. So they would still maybe have a mass driver, but it would be a medium mass driver or a large mass driver. It just does more damage. But you can see when you mouse over these icons, you get power usage, which is where your fission and fusion reactors come into play that we've been researching. You can see the cost in alloy, just like how much material. You can see the upkeep for energy and alloy. That is per month. When the ship is away from a space station, I believe is how that works. So I believe the upkeep comes into play, and I may be wrong, so please anyone let me know. This is one of those things you don't really notice when you're playing the game very much. But when you have your 3K fleet at a station, the upkeep on it, I believe, is less than when the fleet is moving through the galaxy, exploring or at war. Well, we could look at that and mess with it. I think I've looked at it before, but whatever. So, upkeep. Okay, type of damage for these weapons. Kinetic, small component slot. You can see the damage range, cooldown, accuracy, tracking. Again, I'm not going to break all this down, but this is just where you can find out the real details of what's going into your ships. So, all that said, you have some general slots down here, right? Shields, armor, Here's our reactor booster. These are auxiliary slots, right? Like just random boosters. And then over here we have our fusion reactor, our hyperdrive, our thrusters, our radar system, and our ship's computer. How much do I want to go into all this? It's really interesting, but there's so much to look at. Okay, you got your weapons at the top for however many slots you have for the given size of the ship. You have auxiliary slots here, right? And obviously bigger ships will have more auxiliary. So this could be things like maybe like an FTL jammer that you put in your auxiliary slot on your ship. So this one capital class Titan ship can have some really weird special ability that you're not going to have on smaller ships or something like that. It's a very specialized thing. In this case, a reactor booster. Additional power generate systems increases the ship's reactor output. So it's a 20% modifier to our reactor over here. We'll get to that. And down here is these are your defensive improvements. So you can do a combination of shields, armor. So in this case, it's level 2 shield, level 1 armor, level 2 shield. We could design another ship with no armor. We could put level 2 shield, level 2 shield, level 2 shield if we wanted to. So you can mix and match. I like the fact that they only give you so many weapons slot, only so many defensive slots, only so many auxiliary slots, so that you could really customize, but within reason, right? Obviously, it's probably a good idea to do some balance of shields and armor. Now, it's some balance of types of weapons. So in this case, we have kinetic weapons, explosive weapons, but you could go a kinetic, an energy weapon, an explosive weapon, right? Or you could go all kinetics, but now you may be more vulnerable because you have no energy weapons. So kinetic weapons are plus 50% against shield damage, but minus 50% against armor. Just like they're bullets. It's a machine gun. Those machine gun bullets are hitting a ship's heavy armor, and they do very little to damage it. But they pass right through shields, functionally. They're just going through them. Whereas an energy weapon will really have a hard time getting through energy shields, but will cut or bypass through regular armor. So there's trade-offs. So you have to think to yourself, what weapons, what offensive and defensive technologies have I researched? Do I want to do a broad generalist approach where I have level 2 armor, level 2 shields, and level 3 kinetics, and level 3 energy, and level 3 explosives? Because that's a lot of technology paths you have to follow. Or do you just focus down on one thing? I'm going to be kinetics all the way through. Kinetics. I'm never going to worry about energy siphons or blue lasers. Or am I just going to be the shield guy? Always deflectors, always better shields. I'm not going to worry about armor at all. So you make... Inherently, the way you design your ship is going to make it optimized and fragile in different degrees. Over-optimization is fragility. It's also the biggest stick. It's over-optimized is a glass cannon, but it's a glass cannon because it's easy to break. You make ships that only have 3 slots of level 3 shields with no armor, and you run into an alien civilization or some space monster that bypasses shields and does double 100% damage to armor. They're going to cut your ships in two like nothing, like a hot knife through butter, because you've over-optimized away from armor. Yeah. Or they're super resistance against kinetics because they're an energy-only creatures or something. A space crystal or whatever. Your kinetic weapons do nothing against them. And you cannot take them out. So, okay. The final things that would be worth looking at here is fusion reactor. So this is generating power. And all these modules take power usage. Right up at the top. Nuclear, 5 power, 5 power, 5 power. Right down here, shields. 20 power for shields. Armor, no power. Shields, 20 power. So a lot of our energy, you can see there's 20 plus 20 is 40, 5, and 5 for 55 total energy so far. Our level 2 fusion reactor generates 100 at base and gets the 20% bonus from the booster reactor. So what else is using energy? Well, our hyperdrive power usage, 10. So that takes us to 65. Our ion thrusters take an additional 15, which takes us to 80. Our radar takes another 5. That takes us to 85. And our ship's computer takes no energy. Fantastic. I love energyless computing. That's not how that works. But Maxwell's Demon? Anyone? Yeah. That guy ain't for free. He ain't for free. It still takes energy, even for the demon to count, folks. All right. It takes energy to store information, let alone to process information. FYI. Okay. But yeah, you can see how you can increase these. So if we were to upgrade our radar technology to a level 2, it would give us additional sensor range and hyperlane detection. I would imagine if we upgrade our ship's computer, it can give us better firing chances, like plus 5% to hit, plus 10% to hit, that kind of stuff. Our thrusters are giving us additional evasion chance. So that plus 5, you think of it like a percentage or something, but yeah, anytime we put better and better thrusters, our ships will be a little better at evading enemy fire, which is useful. It's a defensive bonus, not unlike adding shields and armor. Okay. Our hyperdrive gives us better chances to jump out when we're losing a fight against hostiles in space, thus salvaging the entire ship. And in general, it doesn't increase sublight speed. That's what the thruster's for. Yeah. So that's not what scoots it around the map. So hyperdrive is just jump potential, I guess. The better hyperdrives presumably give you more stuff. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, and then the reactors. So we have, as of right now, though, we have headroom on our power core. We could redesign the ship without the reactor booster in the auxiliary slot, and we'd still wouldn't be at 100 energy. So I say that because optimizing the ship, if we wanted to do better than the auto generation, is we would do a new design. We could copy the Crow exactly as its class is and pop this sucker out to save us on that 4.75 alloy cost per ship, and everything else would stay the same. Because if I look over here, build time 60 days, upkeep 0.89, 0.2 on the alloy, cost 104.5, ship size 1. That's the Corvette, smallest ship size. I assume it's like destroyers are 2, cruisers are 3, battleships, Titans. Naval capacity usage 1. Each Corvette costs us 1 naval cap. Power plus 35. There you go. Oh, and there's a nice breakdown of it as well. You see your mass drivers, your nuclear missiles, your sensors, your deflectors are the lion's share of it, thrusters and FTL components. So, do we make a leaner, meaner ship? We could. Do we want to do that? Yeah, let's do it. Hold on. New design. New Corvette. Custom screen, gunship, artillery, brawler. Oh my gosh. Brawlers built for close-up fighting, favoring high damage output but short-range weapons like autocannons and disruptors. Custom screen. Ships carry... Oh god, this is so cool. Gunships are intended to fight other ships of their size category, bristling with as many mid-range weapons as possible. Artillery? Oh my gosh. This is fun. Let's make some gunships. Oh my lord. Small red lasers. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. There's a reactor booster. Shields, armor, shields. So it looks like they've kept everything the same. They switched out the weapon type. But let's just pluck this out of here. How do we... Select a component and place it by moving it into an available slot. Right, well, I want it gone. Hold on. There we go. I right-clicked. Sorry. Right-clicked it. It's gone. All right. So our power surplus is out of plus 15. The build cost is dropped by almost 5. And the name is Filbust. Interesting. Let's choose another. Oh. Oh, there we go. Vane. Filbust Vane. Trident class. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, let's do Trident class. Ship roll, so we could cycle through the rolls if we wanted to. But yeah, let's just keep... Well, here, let's switch to another one. Let's go to Screen. All right, Screen is giving us a Sentinel point defense, which is bad at penetrating shields, but good at penetrating armor and penetration and damage. All right. 25% armor penetration, I believe, is bypass. I don't know. I do apologize. I'm guessing that means that it just 25% of the damage goes through the armor to the hull. It's going to essentially, you've got your shield, your armor, your hull. 3 layers that you've got to get through for most ships. There might be some ships out there with no shielding whatsoever, or some aliens out there with no armor whatsoever. They're just shields and hull. But pretty sure that's what penetration means. But it also chews through the armor at plus 100%. Okay, and then we also have the small cutting laser, which is good damage against shield and good against armor and hull. Okay, very cool. Let's check another one. That was the screen. We looked at gunship. Let's look at artillery. Missile. Nuclear missiles. 100% shield penetration. Meaning that these nukes simply fly through the shield like it's not there and explode at the hull of the ship. So it's 100% bypass. Shields do nothing against these things. Apparently. I'm guessing. And then let's see what else. That was artillery. Let's go to brawler. Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. Shit. Small cutting laser. So, yeah, we could do a mixture of these as well. So, all right, let's try this. Let's click in here. Let's throw in a mass driver. Boom. And let's throw in a nuke. Right there. So that would essentially... okay, I'll close that down. There we go. So that gives us bad at damage, good at armor and hull damage. Bad at shield. This right here, this mass drivers are good at shield damage, bad at armor damage. And finally, the nuclear missile completely penetrates shields altogether, applies straight to the hull. So the idea being is if you don't have very much mass drivers, so it might take you a while to chew the shields down because you've only got one of them. Not a problem. You can just completely bypass the shields with that as well. So is that a good design? Probably not. But let's just do it. Here, let's switch that over to the custom, by the way. Oh my gosh. Whoa. We can make them an interceptor with 3 weapon slot or a picket ship with 1. Oh, let's check the picket. Do we have any? Oh my gosh, we do. So real quickly, these are point defense weapons. Point defense would take out fighter craft and missiles, torpedoes, that kind of thing, and have a chance to shoot them out of the air before they ever could apply their damage. Interesting. You might set up picket ships to defend your large carriers, like your large capital ships, from missile swarms and fighter swarms. Right? They would just bypass. Because I think torpedoes do extra damage given the size of the ship, if I'm not mistaken. So you can have frigates that fire a bunch of missiles off. Oh, wow. There's a lot to it, folks. I'm not going to pretend I'm some expert on the ship design. But let's just switch it back over to an interceptor, though. And yeah, let's just throw in the nuke. Boom. Let's throw in the mass driver there. And let's throw in the mining drone laser right there. Okay, you can see all of our weapons, by the way, are just level 1 weapons for right now. We haven't really advanced our technology on any of those. And then down here, let's throw in our improved deflectors are the better armor class. Well, the better technology we have, so we might as well use it. But we're going to give them a little bit of armor. And we're not going to bother with the reactor booster because it's going to save us on cost overall. So... there we go. Let's call this good. And is it saved? Here we go. Save. The Trident. All right. So the Trident is a custom sort of mixed ship. All right. We'll back out of there. That was fun. That was interesting. And did we figure out what thrusters do? Yeah, thrusters give us more evasion. There you go. Good at evading. Oh, I just want to make sure. Hold on, let's go back into the fleet manager, ship designer, Trident. Yes, it automatically had the best thruster, the best reactor, the best hyperdrive. It had the best of all these subsystems available. We didn't have to define it. It just slotted them in there to save us clicks. So it looks like primarily what you're adjusting is your weapons and your defense and your auxiliary. Those are the things you're messing with. Oh, by the way, we only have one type of auxiliary right now. Reactor booster is the only auxiliary technology we have, so that's fine. We can close that down. Let's go back to our new technology, new research. So where are we at here? Crystalline Fleece plating. That would essentially be an upgrade to the level 1 armor we have right now. We could research it. It's always going to be here, though, if we want it. At some point, we'll go past it. Coil gun level 2. Mining station output. This is interesting. Powered exoskeletons would be worker pop resource output plus 5% in army damage. It also opens up the robotics path. We are not particularly interested in that, though, because we are spiritualists, and our people do not like robotic stuff. I can tell you that. It's for roleplay flavor. So, but ultimately, more resources. These are relatively cheap technologies. This is more firepower. This is more armor. I do think that although we're pacifists, we need to push forward on our weaponry to some degree here, folks. Yeah, we're going to get hosed up, ultimately, if we can't defend ourselves at the very least. So I'm going to work on the coil gun level 2. We'll have that shortly. And let's run the clock forward. All right, we got a negative trait. Damn it. Bad luck, Morgan. What'd you pick up here? Got a negative trait, which is... Where the heck's Bad Luck Morgan? I don't even know where they're at. Drown Morgan. I got too many Morgans. Let's go to our leaders. Officials. Bad Luck Morgan got Amicable. Seriously? This leader works obsessively to safeguard against perceived military overreach. Ship build speed minus 10%. This is our arch prophetess. Mother fudger. And ship build cost plus 5%. That sucks. There's nothing we can do about it. The arch prophetess is with us till they die. That really sucks because I believe we got in a technological improvement to our Corvette build speed and cost, and this functionally offsets it, if not worse. That really blows. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, where are we at here, folks? Our science ship's going in with our constructor to Vicure. Our fleets are coming back out. We have a ton of alloys right now, which is good. Let's do this. Where are our shipyards at? Dittram, Edelmar. Edelmar's a shipyard. Okay, let's jump in here. Let's work on some of the new Trident-class ships. They're coming in at 108 alloy now instead of 102.5 because of Bad Luck's negative trait. But yeah, let's throw some in the queue right there, and let's run that clock forward. Ooh, the Atalante is sitting on their ass. Where are they? Up here at I-Free? Okay. No problem. We're going to grab them, and we're going to go research this at Kornagi, this big research anomaly thing. And otherwise, I'm going to shrink down our star bases, our shipyards. What's the Wise doing here, folks? No orders. Let's jump to them. They finished up at Rockamar. Fantastic. Are there any more anomalies around? No. We're working at Elysia and Kornagi. So I think at this point, we can send the Wise to continue at the QE system, surveying this little arm here. We'll push forward on that. And our constructors, Fear Nor Space Foreign, where are you at? They're waiting for the Vicure system to be finished. And the Canway is here at Escalon. No problem. We haven't claimed it yet because we're waiting on influence. So, that being said, what's the current cost per system? 52? Oh yeah, we can do 2 of them. So yeah, let's grab this one for now, I guess. No, hold on. I don't want to do that yet. No, close that. I want Zandaban. This to me looks like the best current system available to us. So let's grab that. Yeah. So I'm going to backtrack the Canway back down here to Zandaban, and we will have them build it, and then we'll save the rest of this influence for Vicure, depending on how long this is going to take. This is the Free Pearl, and if we mouse over the Free Pearl right there, we can see their progress on the surveys. So again, as long as this constructor doesn't zip in there, we may be able to grab Vicure out from underneath. 8 mineral, 2 trade. It's looking good so far here, folks. Looking good so far. I see a constructor en route somewhere. Demoon right there. We finished that? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. We sent the constructor around the long way, didn't we? Yeah, okay. So is there any work for these guys to do in this branch? Doesn't look like it. Actually, let's send the Bones of a Dead Star up to Ifrifi. It's not a good system, or to Uzun. We'll just send them to Nishpan for now, right? They'll hover, because obviously once the Atalante is done with the anomaly at Koronagi, we can backtrack them into Uzun and have them survey that system as well. As well as the fact that Bivham has to be claimed in Jana, although neither of these systems are overly good, but they'll be in position. Okay. Close that down. We have more upgrades. The Raucous Plunderers upgraded for 33 alloy, and the Scurvy Dogs upgrading for 3 alloy. Okay. Run that clock forward.
Ships upgraded. Ships upgraded. System survey complete.
All right, where do we finish that survey? Right there? Okay. Gee, that is a kind of a worthless system, but it is what it is. All right, let's advance the ISS-Wise to the Termiku Black Hole. Termiku Black Hole, yeah, okay. I think altogether, by the way, I counted up the systems we have access to at this point that are within our space. I think it's at 20. So, or it's like 19 or 20. So there's a lot of systems we're still going to be claiming here. System survey completed. Oh, fantastic. Here we go. So Vicure is not a great system, but yeah, we'll grab it. Again, we just want to literally take it so that the Talacurans can't have it. So build the starbase. Boom. It's going to be ours. Fantastic. And then let's get this science ship on to another product. This is Red Tie and the Free Pearl. Where to? Where to? Gosh, we are running out of things. You know what? At this point, Red Tie is an archaeologist level 2. Let's have them work on one of our archaeological sites. I think we've only got the one there. Just because they're good at it, and realistically, we're not in a rush to get through this. So yeah, let's send them off to Wegmore. Right there. Excavate site. Perfect. And we have another site here at Rigel we'll be able to get to eventually? Or is that done? Oh. Maybe we paused on that? We never finished that up, did we? No, I don't think we did. Hold on. Anomalies done there. Closing all these down. Research. What did we just complete? Unlocks components. Improve reactor booster. This is an auxiliary slot. So we're doing these damn reactor boosters. Why did I do that? Bad choice. I probably shouldn't have worked on the reactor boosters. This is going to be a 33% boost to our reactor instead of 20%. But we've already removed the reactor boosters from our auxiliary slots to save on alloys. So we just don't need them. I can imagine every time we click the upgrade over here, they're auto-upgrading to these improved reactors and stuff. I'm not going to worry about it here, folks. New research. What do we have? Proper shields. So I think we've used deflectors up to this point, which is a type of shield. This is like shield. So think of like Deflector 3. It's a better one of these. If we look at the small version of it, shield hit points 125, daily regen speed 0.8. So it's like every day of the month goes. So after a month, it'll gain 30 times 0.8. So around 24 shield points a month regen. Which is just more hit points and fast regen than a deflector. Functionally what that does. Or research station output plus 10%. That would be science. It's kind of a roundabout way to get more science for us. I might be willing to take that potentially. Flat cannons, interlink support system, point barrier defense. Yeah, that's a point defense P there. AI research. Well, we're not going to go down that route. And colony development speed we don't need. So yeah, of all of these, let's take that. Let's take the research outputs. It'll give us a little more research. You know, we're super laggy behind on that. So I think that's a roundabout way of getting more research without specifically researching AI technologies. All right, let's pause there. What do we got? Survey complete. That's the Termiku Black Hole. That's a shitty system also. That's just 3 physics research. Is really, really poor here. Let's move up to Dianthe. Okay, survey there. And recall that we ran into a 3K alien fleet at Alistair. At Aestars? Okay. We'll need to be careful, and we may have to send our fleet in there, but 3K will be a battle. It's going to take everything we've got to clear them out of there. Okay, that's that. Construction complete. Where? At the Cure? Yes. And actually, if you look, that's up to 13 minerals, and they had just sent in their constructor. So we got it just in time. We snatched it away from them. Fantastic. They were there to claim, but they don't get it. It's ours now. So we are going to build those mining stations up, and that's well worth it for 13 extra minerals and 4 trade. That's really good for us. So in the end, I think the Cure was worth it, that little gambit. Bad Luck Morgan gained Charismatic 2. Okay. Fantastic. Let's go to leaders. Why am I not seeing that? Charismatic 2. Wow, she's leveled up. She got a negative trait and a positive trait within really short order of each other. But Charismatic 2 is going to push the Edict upkeep to minus 10%, Edict Fund plus 35. Fantastic. We haven't looked at our edicts in a little bit. Let's jump in here real quickly and make sure everything's turned on that can be. So we still have plenty of headroom. You can see in general our upkeep costs are pretty low. Even, again, we benefit even on these energy costs. It costs us less. Now, the only things we don't have turned on are 2 edicts that relate to wartime or combat. We would turn these on and it would cost us exotic gases, but we don't have a whole huge surplus or piggy bank of exotic gases. That's why we're leaving those turned off. Which reminds me, we want to go probably build a couple of extra clinics right now. So we're going to take care of that next. But yes, otherwise, all of our edicts are on. And although our empire size is growing, we're at 160 empire size, which, if we mouse over here, you can see, I'm looking at research subsidies down at the bottom. In red, empire size is 60% extra cost to all of our edicts because we've gone beyond 100% empire size. So the more systems we claim and the more we grow, the more colonies, that's going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. Even the more districts we build, we'll push that up, as we've discussed before. But we're able to offset that bloat from empire size because we're so efficient at scaling down the costs of our edict funds. So cutthroat politics, fanatic spiritualist, and the charismatic from our leader. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. We don't have to turn anything off yet, and that's kind of by design. That's we very specifically are running this way. With most standard civilizations that don't have edict scaling, you'd only be able to have 1 or 2 edicts on at a time, functionally. I mean, I guess you could probably like turn on some of the energy ones, and then for the unity based ones, you'd only be able to have 1 or 2 at a time. But yeah, we're looking good. I like that. What do we need to do though? Oh, clinics. Yes. Oh, and ships. So hold on. Let's just jump through our fleets real quick. It's a lot of alloy. Boom. Jumping in here. Boom. And boom. Crow class. I just wonder if our Solar Reavers are the Trident class, right? Trident. They won't need the upgrade on that reactor booster because they don't have it in the auxiliary slot. Remember, we designed them with nothing in the auxiliary slot, even though we just got reactor booster level 2, but they didn't get the upgrade symbol. So I think they'll be safe from that. We're essentially pumping a bunch of alloys into these useless reactor boosters. It's functionally it's not great. Is there an ability to redesign existing ships? Could we take a fleet like the Scurvy Dogs, which is a Crow class fleet, and switch it over to the Trident class? Refit, essentially. I'm just looking. Fleet manager, go to, disband, deselect, home base, fleet stance, orbital bombardment, attack target, take point, reinforce, transfer ship, convert into mercenary enclave. That's something I don't know about. Upgrade fleet. Fleet's already been upgraded. Repair fleet. So, no. I don't see a way to take a Crow class and convert it to a Trident class. But going forward, we probably won't build any more Crows. we'll just build tridents from here on out. So we're keeping an eye on our alloys. Anything else we could do with that? Yeah, let's jump up to Edelmar here real quick, and let's build them a defensive platform. Boom, there you go. We may want to look at the design of our defensive platforms as well and make sure those are as efficient as they can be, but I think we'll do that in another episode. So that being said, where are we at? I think that's it for today, folks. We're past an hour here. We looked at the ship designer. That was a new thing, so that's not bad. We've looked at the galactic community stuff. Everything's sitting pretty good. I feel like we're generating a good amount of alloy. We're able to build quite a few ships, but we're going to keep pushing forward. We're almost out of naval cap. But yeah, we'll keep pushing forward on those defensive platforms. We'll keep scouting out these remaining systems, and we're going to be completing some of these really tough anomalies that we're working on right now. These are hard-ass anomalies. Oh, you can see the progress bars here. Strange emissions. Where's that coming from? Are they working on that? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where are you? I didn't see this. Strange emissions. Where is this at? Oh. I just bypassed that? Hold on. No, we're going to send them back. Sorry. I that one slipped through the cracks. Okay, that's where we'll end for today. So, just wrapping up our anomalies, and we're starting to work on our archaeological sites, getting those. That'll take many years to do. And yeah, we're backfilling all these empty voids for the time being. So that's it. Next episode, we need to look at our medical clinics and just make sure at this point all of our colonies should have one or be building their more advanced medical clinic, because we have enough exotic gases for that. So I think that's where we'll leave off. We'll probably review all of our colonies again, by the way, on the next session, just to make sure the buildings and jobs are in good shape. That's it. Yeah, till next time. Maybe we'll take a look at contacts as well, and go in through all the aliens and see what we can do to manage diplomatic relations, because we need to do a bit more of that. Okay, take care, folks. If you watched, I appreciate your time.